This is Dot Dungeon in 5 minutes. Dot Dungeon is an alternate reality RPG by John Battle. John is an incredible designer. Let's just start with that. I love Dot Dungeon. Alternate reality RPG is the perfect description of what's going on here. In it, as you can kind of tell from the cover art here, you're going to be playing characters who live in sort of an MMORPG world. But you're not just playing the characters in that world, you are playing the players who play those characters. John encourages you to play yourself in this, although if you don't want to play yourself inhabiting another character, you can pretend to be somebody else. But the game is fascinating in the layers in which you play, the sort of like meta layers, and where you are you playing a game, playing as a person who's playing a game. Let me explain a little bit about what I mean by this. That dungeon is a kind of it builds up a foundation that is the foundation of most dungeon crawlers. It's got things like gear. It has a plethora of classes called avatars in this that you use to explore the world. And it's got kind of your classic resolution where you're going to roll dice and one side rolls higher than the other and that side wins. Really good about like foundation and bones for a dungeon crawling game on its own. But this game is so much more than just a classic dungeon crawler. See, you are playing yourself and your group of friends probably for the last time that you all are going to be playing this game that has brought you all together. Maybe it's summer break and you're about to go off back to school, or it's finally time to put the controller down because you've got other things going on in your life. So you're going to do one last sort of hurrah here with this game. Instead of HP, you all have a value called your connection, which is basically your connection to the virtual world, but also connection to your group. Anytime you try to accomplish something, you roll a die, and it can roll anywhere from a D4 to a D20. D20 is better because you can get higher values. When you roll a challenge to see if you accomplish something, you roll against the GM called the world. Whoever rolls higher gets the thing to happen that they're looking for. Although John gives fantastic advice about how to make failure interesting or what success actually looks like. It's really straightforward. Two dice compared against one another to see what happens. But if whoever is the loser doesn't lose HP, they don't lose anything like that, they lose connection rating. They lose this connection to the game itself. For NPCs, that's overcoming them, that's accomplishing quests, it's winning sword fights. But for the players, when you lose connection, you start to become disconnected from the game. You start to maybe not want to play anymore. You start to distance yourself between yourself, the game, and your group of friends who are playing it. It's like beautiful and sad at the same time that HP, this thing that so many people are not a huge fan of, is perfectly represented. Instead of like being worn down in a fight, you're being worn down from life around you and stopping you from being able to continue to play this game that has connected you and meant so much to you with you and your friends. How does the game work beyond that? Well, it's a dungeon crawler. And how do you get a dungeon? John gives great advice about how literally anything can be a dungeon. There's advice on porting in dungeons from any other game that you're interested in. Play this in a world where anything truly is possible. Let's talk a little bit about characters. You play these avatars. The avatars are amazing in the meta sort of level of play that's going on here. For example, one of the avatars is a hacker. You are one of the players who actually knows like the code of the game and can hack and break the game. Another one of them is the mage. The mage grabs books off of the shelf, uses them for inspiration for spells. It's a little bit like the Wizards in the Waste, another game by John. And there's just so many fantastic, cool avatars in here. I don't want to spoil them for you. You really need to just check them out for yourself. This game is bursting with advice and tools and tables, and it's just gorgeous on its own. Not only that, but there's a number of like supplemental pieces of material out there as well. So once you've played Dot Dungeon, you've got it, it's gotten it's hooked in you. Trust me, it will. There's a whole lot more out there that you can use to continue to explore this alternate reality RPG. So if you want a dungeon crawler, cool, this will satisfy that urge. But if you want a dungeon crawler that makes you think about why you're in the dungeon in a whole different way than like why heroes go into dungeons, but why friends get together to play the games they play, Dot Dungeon is the game for you. I cannot recommend it enough. You can grab it on itch, or you can get yourself a printed copy here from John's store. All the links are down below in the description. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.